Hi there, my name's Aaron Short and welcome to my YouTube channel, and today I'm talking about the Sonicake A Factory Acoustic Preamp Pedal. People ask me all the time on the live streams, what is a DI pedal? What is a preamp? Do I need one? And like everything else, it depends on your rig and the pickup in your acoustic guitar or acoustic instrument. If you have a passive pickup, so no batteries in there, then you most likely do need a preamp. But don't forget that preamps are also in mixers. Sometimes we have a preamp in our acoustic guitar. If you've got a battery in there, you've got a preamp. So sometimes you have a preamp in your acoustic guitar, in a pedal on the floor, and also in your mixer. That's not necessarily a bad thing if they each have features that you need. Some preamps are just preamps, and some preamps have XLR outputs, balanced outputs, XLR, EQ, reverb, boost, different effects like that. Some have IRs built in. It really depends on your needs. But today's product is interesting because it's way under $100. On their official website right now, it's $70. I'll put a link below in case that changes. But at this price, you can get one and try it for yourself. So what I'm going to do today, and this is a sponsored video, but I have tried the product. It does sound really good. And I'm going to show you how it can improve even a guitar with a great preamp in it already. I'll use the Cole Clark Angel 3. One of my favorite pickup systems is in this. And I can still improve the sound with the preamp. So just imagine if you're using a pickup with no controls on it that's passive. This may be even better. Of course, it's all subjective. It all depends on the preamp and the guitar that you are using. But at this price, you could get one and try it out for yourself. Let's take a closer look. Okay, so this is it. It's nice. It's lightweight. It does need power and does not include a power supply. Many pedals now do not, even the expensive ones. So I recommend getting something like the Boss power supply. I'll link it below. You've got two buttons here. You've got reverb. So there's a built-in reverb, which is great. And you've got the preamp on or off. There's two ways you can use this. If you've already got a guitar that sounds great, you could have it so when you turn the preamp on, it shapes the tone in a different way. Maybe it boosts the sound for a solo or gives you a different sound completely without a volume boost. But that's one way you could use it. I would most likely use it as an always on thing. So I would just leave it on all the time and then use the reverb on or off. Actually, same thing. I just leave reverb on all the time. Some people want to have it on as an effect. And you could have the reverb in your mixer at a low level and then use this for a bigger reverb. Depends how you want to work. But I personally would probably just leave these on all the time. And then one more thing, if you hold it down, it will mute the sound and flash at you like that. So that's really cool. So we've got several features here. We also have XLR out and quarter-inch out. That means you could send XLR out to your mixer and quarter-inch out to your acoustic amp. So in a way, you're splitting the signal, which is nice as well. Then we have a ground lift on the back for the XLR output. So if you're getting any noise or hum, you can try to lift that ground and see if it makes a difference. Sometimes it does, and it's useful to have. I've noticed on here that there is no noise, so it makes no difference. But in some venues, you have that issue and you need a ground lift. We also have a pretty comprehensive EQ. Sonicake don't tell us what frequencies they're affecting, but we'll try them out and see what they sound like. We've got treble, middle, bass. The overall volume could be used as a volume boost or could be used as a way just to add more gain to the overall level like that. And then I really like that the reverb has a mix level and a decay level, and I'll show you that later as well. It doesn't have everything. Some preamps like this may have other features. Some preamps have less features. I think this is a really good amount of features. I'm really glad there's a notch on there. I'll show you that too. A notch can be invaluable at a gig. Let's plug in the guitar and see what it sounds like. So everything is flat. The preamp is off. And what I'm going to do is play the guitar without the preamp. So everything's turned off on the preamp just to show you what this pickup sounds like in the guitar. And the guitar has a battery in it and it already has a preamp in the guitar. And it's one of my favorite pickup systems on the market because why would you start with a bad source, right? Find yourself a good pickup to start with. Of course, you may want to have a passive pickup and then you need a DI like this, but I'm going to start with a good sounding pickup in the first place today. But let's see if we can make it sound even better. First of all, here is my guitar with the pedal bypassed. Now I'll toggle between the two so you can hear the difference between the preamp on and bypass, but everything is flat on the pedal. There is a slight difference. Many people spend hundreds of dollars, if not thousands, on preamps to sound completely transparent. I don't really know if that's necessary. For example, on this preamp, I actually prefer it turned on. I think it cleans up the sound a little bit. It's very subtle. It may even be the tolerance in these knobs, but I prefer it with the preamp turned on. So for me, that's a plus. But now let's go through the controls and see what they do. So on the top left, we have a notch. What is notch? Well, notch is a very, very narrow band of EQ. And what you're going to do is when you hear that note feeding back, if you tap on the top of the guitar or stand near the speaker and it's feeding back, you're going to just want to turn the volume of the notch down to lower the volume and then scroll through the frequencies until you hit that one that's feeding back and it will disappear. You can also do it the other way around. If you haven't got feedback, you can turn the notch up and scroll through until it starts to feedback. That means it's going to feedback later if you turn up, and then again, cut it a little bit or a lot. I would probably cut it all the way down. That's just invaluable for feedback, and I use that all the time, so I'm really glad that it's on here. Let's see what it sounds like. What I'll do is I'll boost the volume all the way and scroll through the frequencies just so you can hear them. We're using headphones today and going direct, so I'm not going to get feedback. If I was playing through speakers, I'd get a lot of feedback in this range of frequencies. So I could hear it getting really boomy. That's where it's probably going to feedback. But also at the top end of this, it's getting a bit scratchy and mid-rangey. So I may also use it to cut some of that sound if I'm not going to use it as a notch control, just to shape my tone. So I'm actually going to cut that there a little bit to clean up the sound. So that's the notch. Next up, we have volume. This volume reflects the volume of the guitar right now. If we need a hotter signal going to our mixer, we could turn that up. And if our guitar is very low output, we can compensate, obviously. It seems to be around kind of 6 dB between noon and maximum. It's around 6 decibels boost. So that can be really useful. Some passive pickups are very loud anyway. Some are not. It really depends on your pickup. Also, I will throw in here, the input impedance seems to be 10 meg ohm. That works great with some pickups. Some pickups say they want lower because it reduces the low end, but you can also just reduce the low end with the bass control as well. But that volume is useful. My guitar is pretty hot anyway, so I'm just going to leave it at noon. So treble, let's see what that sounds like. At the top there, it's very zingy. I would say, to me, that's more like presence. But that zingy sound is what you get in a lot of piezo pickups. So for a piezo undersaddle pickup, I would cut the treble and it should clean that up. On this guitar, it sounds pretty good already. I'm going to leave it flat. But that would be great for when you get that real kind of plasticky, quacky sound. Just cut that treble down. It should really help you out. Let's do the same for middle. You can hear that's very honky. I hate mid-range and acoustic guitars, and that's a very honky sound, so I'm going to cut that a little bit. I've actually cut it slightly on the guitar itself as well. I really don't like 1 to 2K or 1 to 2.5K on any guitar, even electric guitar. And you just heard it, because when I turned it up, we're just overemphasizing what it's doing. So that honkiness, I don't like. So I'm going to cut it. I'm not going to cut it completely, because then we lose all the attack in the guitar. I'm just going to cut it a little bit on this guitar, because I don't like it. We've actually notched out a frequency with the notch and cut the mid. So we are shaping this a little bit. Let's try the bass as well. So that again, that gets really boomy. On a muddy pickup, you can turn that down. On a thin pickup, you can turn it up. This preamp I have in this guitar has a lot of bass, I find, so I'm going to cut that slightly there, but not too much. I want enough low end to come through. So now let me play the two back to back with the preamp on and off. If the LED is off, it's bypassed. If it's green, it's active. So I like that. improvement. A good tip here is if your guitar is muddy or you want it to be clearer, don't just crank up the treble, because as I showed you, the treble is more of a presence kind of thing. That's not going to make your guitar cut through the mix and be brighter. You want to cut first. So a good rule of thumb with EQ is cut before you boost. So the fact that we're cutting that notch frequency, we're cutting the bass, we're cutting the mids, it's allowing the trebles to be heard more. Therefore, the guitar sounds cleaner, and you could say brighter, but I like to say cleaner. And that's the effect of cutting. If you start to boost, it's artificial. It's better to take away things than to add things in that are not there. You can do that, but do that at the end. Don't do it at the start. Right, finally, let's check out this reverb. Sometimes included reverbs are not that good. Let's see what this one sounds like. I love the fact there's a mix and a decay setting on this. Let's see how it sounds straight through at noon. So it's a nice reverb. As you can hear, it's kind of a big splash. I don't like that. The reason I love the fact there's a mix and a decay is you can make the reverb sound that you want. You're not stuck with Sonicake's decision. And what I do on almost all these pedals for my preferences is I turn the mix down and the decay up. And the reason is I don't really want to hear big reverb getting in the way of the guitar, and I want it to decay slowly over time. So let me show you what this sounds like. So you see what I mean? It's very subtle now. Now it's just joining the notes together, the strumming together. It's not overpowering. If you want a lot of reverb, you can do that. It's up to you. I'm so happy it's got the decay and the mix because I can set it exactly how I want, and that's how I like to have it. Now I've got the reverb and the preamp dialed in for this guitar. I'm going to bypass everything, play without the preamp, and then play with the preamp. Let's see how it sounds. I really like that reverb. Actually, for the price of this pedal, even just for the reverb alone, I think it'd be great. That's why I'm recommending this. This is really good. So far, the Sonicake stuff I've tried is really good. Yeah, so I also prefer the sound of it with the pedal than without the pedal. There's a few more things I'd like to now do. There's a frequency around 2K that I usually notch out that you can't do on here. You can't do that on most preamp pedals. But the point is you would then go to your mixer and do that there. The real point with a preamp is in the name, preamplifier, preamp. So you get the guitar sounding roughly how you want it, and then you send that out of the XLR output to the mixer, and then you finish the job there. So I have a digital mixer, so then at the mixer I would fine tune and cut out any frequencies with that mixer. But I've already done a lot of the work with the preamp, and I've sent a great signal to the mixer in the first place. So again, that's the point. They work in tandem, they work together. I'm really impressed with this, and I want to thank Sonicake for sending it out for review, and I look forward to checking out more of their products. I have reviewed another of their acoustic pedals before, so check that out on my channel. If you're new here, please subscribe and ring the bell, and let me know, do you use acoustic preamps in your gigs, and do you think they're necessary, and have you tried this one, and what do you think of it? Let me know in the comments below. It'd be great to hear from you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care and be well. Bye-bye.